The marina glimmered beneath the noon sun, a place where wealth floated on water and pride was the air everyone breathed. The docks shimmered with spotless yachts, each more extravagant than the last. Among this display of luxury worked Eli, the janitor everyone overlooked. His uniform was faded, his hands marked by oil and salt, but his work was quiet perfection. He moved with patience, polishing railings and clearing debris no one else noticed. He never complained, never sought attention. To most, he was invisible. That morning, a new presence arrived, the heiress Vanessa, inheritor of her late father's prized yacht, the Serafina. She carried herself like she owned not just the vessel, but the entire horizon. Her laughter was loud, her heels sharper than her words, and both cut through the still air as she strutted down the dock. The staff rushed to assist her, heads bowed, eager to please. Eli kept to his corner, cleaning the walkway near her yacht, when her gaze caught him. Her lips curled, eyes sweeping from his worn boots to his sun-cracked face. "Can't they hire someone cleaner?" she muttered to her friends, just loud enough for the wind to carry it. They giggled, and one of them whispered something that made her laugh even harder. Eli paused, looked up for only a second, then returned to his work. The moment hung in silence before disappearing beneath the sound of waves. To Vanessa, it was nothing, a forgettable instance of mockery. To Eli, it was just another reminder that people see uniforms, not the person inside them. Around him, the world spun in excess, men boasting about stocks, women comparing diamonds, engines roaring with arrogance. But beneath the polished surfaces and painted smiles, Eli saw what few noticed, fragility hiding behind fortune. As the sun dipped lower, his reflection shimmered faintly in the water beside the Serafina. He didn't know it yet, but the very woman who mocked him would soon learn that humility doesn't come from wealth, it comes from the fall that follows pride. 2 days later, the marina buzzed with excitement. Vanessa was hosting a lavish launch party aboard the Serafina, inviting investors, socialites, and the kind of people who only spoke in numbers with too many zeros. Waiters carried trays of champagne, cameras flashed, and the air smelled like money and envy. Vanessa, draped in designer confidence, made sure every guest saw her masterpiece, the yacht that symbolized her father's legacy and her own superiority. But when she turned the key to start the engines, confidence cracked. The control lights blinked, alarms flickered red, and the powerful machine gave a low groan before dying completely. Confusion rippled through the deck. Technicians hurried, tools clattered, and sweat formed beneath expensive suits. Vanessa's smile faltered as whispers spread. Guests exchanged amused looks, pretending to be polite while recording on their phones. "It's just a minor issue," she insisted, though her voice trembled. Minutes stretched into hours, and frustration turned to panic. The technicians couldn't find the fault. Every failed attempt deepened her humiliation. Her investors began leaving, masks of sympathy barely hiding their judgment. Her anger burst like a storm. She berated the staff, accused the marina workers of incompetence, and threw orders that no one could fulfill. Pride was crumbling fast, and desperation replaced arrogance. The $20 million yacht that once made her untouchable now sat lifeless in full view of everyone she sought to impress. When one of the older dock hands muttered that the janitor might know more about the marina systems than anyone there, Vanessa laughed bitterly. But humiliation is a ruthless teacher. With no choice left, she found Eli mopping the far walkway, as calm as if the chaos behind her didn't exist. She hesitated, pride choking her words, then finally asked for help. Without saying a thing, Eli put down his mop and walked toward the yacht, leaving a trail of quiet disbelief behind him. Eli stepped onto the yacht without hesitation, his movements steady and deliberate, the kind that came from decades of experience. The guests who had stayed watched curiously, some amused, others skeptical. Vanessa folded her arms, torn between doubt and hope. Eli said nothing, only listened to the faint hum beneath the deck, the silent language of machinery that others couldn't hear. He opened a small access panel, his hands moving with practiced precision, tracing lines, tightening valves, testing circuits the technicians had overlooked. In minutes, he located the issue, a misaligned cooling regulator buried deep within the yacht's core. It wasn't broken, just flawed by design. The kind of problem no manual could solve, only instinct and experience could. He adjusted, recalibrated, then reassembled the part with quiet focus. The marina fell still, not a word, not a breath, just the sound of tools and distant waves. When he finally turned the ignition, the yacht's heart came alive with a deep, smooth purr. The lights steadied, the alarms vanished, and the once dead engine roared back to perfect life. Gasps spread through the crowd. The same people who mocked him now stared in disbelief, clapping awkwardly, pretending they'd known he could do it. Eli didn't look at them. He wiped his hands on a cloth, nodded once, and stepped back onto the dock. Vanessa stood frozen, her voice lost between shock and shame. One of her investors approached Eli and recognized him instantly. The rumor spread faster than the waves. Eli Foster wasn't just a janitor. Years ago, he was the chief marine engineer behind one of the first hybrid luxury yachts ever designed. A man betrayed by partners, stripped of everything, who walked away from glory to live quietly. Now, standing beneath the setting sun, he looked neither proud nor vengeful, just content, as if fixing what's broken was all that ever mattered. News of what happened spread faster than gossip ever could. Within a day, people at the marina spoke of the janitor who revived a yacht worth millions while experts stood helpless. Some called it luck, others called it brilliance, but everyone remembered the quiet man who asked for nothing. Eli's phone rang constantly after that, offers from yacht owners, engineers, even investors who once ignored him. But he refused them all. He didn't crave redemption or wealth. He had already escaped the noise of ego years ago. His peace didn't come from recognition, it came from knowing his worth even when no one else saw it. Vanessa, however, couldn't escape the echo of that moment. Her arrogance had collapsed under the weight of her own embarrassment. The same guests who had laughed at Eli's uniform now whispered about her failure. The humiliation she had tried to bury stayed with her, reshaping something deep inside. Days later, she found Eli again, standing where he always did, wiping down the docks. She walked up quietly, no audience, no pretense. For the first time, her tone carried humility. She thanked him, then apologized, not the kind spoken to save pride, but the kind that came from understanding. Eli simply nodded, offering a faint smile before returning to work. He didn't need to say anything, the lesson had already spoken for itself. Weeks passed, and the Serafina sailed again, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. On one corner of the deck, Vanessa placed a small brass plaque that read, "Respect everyone. You never know who built the dock you stand on." Guests who boarded asked about it, and she always smiled faintly, saying it was a story worth remembering. And across the marina, the janitor everyone once ignored kept sweeping, quietly fixing what others broke, his silence carrying more weight than words ever could.